Hey, it's Chris from CycleLane.Bike here with this week's quick tip. How to fix a squeaky disc brake on your mountain bike. So there's a couple of things you're going to need. The first thing is some chain lube or some silicone spray. I've got some down here. So we'll spray it on the disc, yeah? No, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. It's partly what's probably the cause. The contaminants such as chain lube or dirt can get on the disc and they get kind of worn in with the pads, and then once they start wearing on the disc, you get these microscopic patterns on the disc that you can't see, but they're kind of like a record, and they are what cause it to squeak. So it's a terrible noise, and quite embarrassing when you're out in the forest. The best way to fix it is to take it off the bike and give it a bit of a touch up. I'll show you how to do that in a moment, but to recap, don't spray your bike with chain lube because the contaminants are part of the problem. Before we go any further, you're going to need some brake clean, you're going to need some torque screws, some fine sandpaper. In my case, I've got some very well-worn 120 grade sandpaper, a sanding block, and a clean rag. And that's about all. We've got the wheel out, but you are going to need a set of pliers because we need to take the brake pads out as well. So they're usually held in with a little pin. So you just need to get the pin to get to a point where they'll come out. And that's usually just by squishing the ends back together and then using your pliers to pull out the pin that holds the pads in place. You can see that here. All right, with that out, you'll see that the pads should just pop on out. Don't, whatever you do, squeeze the brake lever up top because that's a really bad idea. But pull one out and then pull your other brake pad out. Again, you might want to use your pliers here. Careful not to lose this. That's the little spring that you need when you're putting the pads back in. So here we've got the brake pad. Got a little bit of sandpaper. You just want to give your brake pad a really light little sand. There you can see that it's just been sanded off nicely. When we combine that with the freshly sanded brake disc, we'll give you a nice good stopping surface. So the next order of business is to remove the disc off the wheel. Now you need a torque driver. Now I'm using a impact driver just because it's convenient and easy. If you don't have one of those, you can do it the manual way, but you do need the torque driver, the little torque head on this. So the other thing I am going to do, I'm just going to mark the side of the disc that was up. It does have the rotation arrows on it, but rather than having to work it out, I've just got the disc with a little mark on it. So then, again with your sandpaper, you just want to get onto the surface a light sand, and then you do the other side. So once you've been all around and given it a reasonable sand, the reason I'm not sanding this disc too much is the actual disc itself was in good shape. It wasn't squeaking, but I wanted to demonstrate what you needed to do. So give it a good scan so that you've got a nice fresh surface, braking surface, and then you'll be ready to bed it back in. We're ready to screw these up. So I've got my impact driver and I don't want to tighten them up too much, but just take that one and then go to the opposite side. I like to finish them off by hand just because it gives you a better feel, because they don't need to be too tight. You've got the brake pad here, one, then your little spring, and then your other brake pad goes over the top like that, and then push it together, and then you want to just pop it up inside. So when you've got it to this point, you just want to slot that split pin right back through, right the way through, and then just push the edge away just a little bit. And once that's pushed away, the split pin won't pull out and your brake pads are nicely secure. Second to last order of business is to slot the wheel back into place. And the last thing to do, spray with the brake clean and then just wipe the surface just to get rid of anything else. So you can do this when it's off the bike, or you do it when it's on the bike because it does make it a little bit easier. So there we have it. That's CycleLane.Bike's quick tip for this week: how to stop a squeaky mountain bike disc brake. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button down below or the subscribe. Share it with your friends. If you have any comments, leave them below. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for another quick tip.